Hello friends, this is our Black Friday deal running through the weekend. 20% off individual courses utilizing the code listed here, as well as an additional 10% off the already 20% off bundle of both courses together. A lot of people are still waiting to get into the chat room and live stream community, and those that finish the courses get automatically added to an express list. But once you are on that list, you still need to go to the website membership page and sign up in one of the two spots that open up each day. Now, last week we had a day where both spots did not get filled. So you need to go to that website and stay persistent, stay patient, as we are doing this to ensure that we do not flood our chat room with new people, new questions. We're trying to keep it as productive and as efficient as possible. So keeping it to 2 people a day does that. We appreciate all the support. Let's get to the charts. Hello, Canadian MJ friends. So our rule of thumb coming into play with gap downs for buying. So the bull saw a nice rally off the low, a 10% bounce roughly. But if you zoomed out to the hourly time frame after the open, you could see that the hourly trend has not changed. It has broken lower highs. Yes, absolutely. There was a lot of volume behind it. But until we see higher lows and higher highs, we don't confirm any trend change. We just get the bull break of the lower highs, and then we look for the likelihood of a higher low forming. But by the end of the day, with the weakness we saw in SPY, we pulled back significantly enough that the bulls are just looking for an hourly equilibrium. So tomorrow morning, if the bulls show up, well, actually, let's say tomorrow morning if the bell rings, and if we cannot break 33.57, we're just going to look for a lower high. If we see a break of 31.18, it is bearish. That has us looking right back down at the low. Based on the amount of bull volume that we saw in the first 2 hours of trading, I would be surprised to just fade right to a lower low. But again, SPY is running the show, and SPY is extremely weak, unable to see any follow through on any of the bounce attempts that we see. And that is what has led to further weakness here. So the most important levels are those two in the short term. If we break 31.18, 29.88 is next. If we break 33.57, psychological resistances 34 and 35 will be next, as there's no clear price points for resistance aside from those levels. So it was the start of a bounce, but we need a lot of follow through for any kind of trend to change. If we change the hourly trend, we zoom out on the daily time frame, anything on the daily chart under $46 is a lower high. We have not seen any bounce attempt on the daily giving us a lower high since 46.78. So again, once that hourly trend does confirm the change, we are still going to look for a daily lower high. So the bulls have a lot of work to do for anything to follow through on the longer term time frames. And a lot of people were saying, why is Canadian MJ in the green and US MJ is in the red? And we have to keep in mind that US MJ trades in the US. The US markets are extremely weak, all sectors. If people are fearing holding Amazon and Facebook and Apple and these major stocks, we're not going to see a lot of confidence holding stocks that are federally illegal or, participating in federally illegal practices. So just keep that in mind. When everything's sunshine and rainbows and we're in blue sky breakout and money's growing on trees in the markets, people are throwing their money everywhere and they're a lot more risk tolerant. When they start to button up their wallets and things start to look a little bit sketchy as they are right now, we see people flock to utilities and to other sectors that are generally safe havens, and federally illegal substances with, ambiguous laws are not safe havens. So TLRY on the daily time frame, we had a lower open. It was a gap down open, and we saw a significant buying of the dip. So bulls did see follow through, but again, gave it all back because of the inability for the market to see any kind of follow through as well. So the low of 99, we saw a 10% plus bounce, and now we're looking down at a higher low trying to form at 102.55. If we break 102.55, we're looking down at 99. Look at that perfect bottom fishing play. 99 was the only support level nearby, and it held by 35 cents. But we're heading right down to 99 if we break 102.55. If we see the bulls show up tomorrow morning, we're going to look for a lower high compared to 111.69. Look at all this resistance now forming between 110 and 113 over the past couple of days, a clear resistance zone. ACB on the daily time frame, bulls bought the dip. Look at that volume, significant volume. We go to the hourly time frame, and we have a clear higher low has been established. So the range to be watching into tomorrow is the support level of 778 and resistance of 834. So if we break 778, it's a bearish break that has us looking at 744. If we get the bull break of 834, we're then looking up at 850 as the next level. ACB with a bit of a stronger end of the day comparative to the other two names that we just looked at. TLRY, very weak end of the day. and CGC, not very impressive end of the day. Just one green candlestick as opposed to ACB having 2 in a row there at the end. APHA has been the weakest name, and it is still staying that way. We did see bulls buy the dip, but we keep hitting lower lows. The hourly time frame, low, high of the bull move is 1234 resistance. Higher low is trying to form at 1152. Break 1152, we go to 1109. Break 1234, we're looking up at 1298 as the next resistance level after that. Still a tight range, but not a lot of follow through, similar to CGC on the end of the day bounce attempt. Missing Cron here. Let's do Cron. So Cron has been holding up the best on the daily time frame. So the daily chart still holding support. So support was 752 and we held it. We're even holding the low of that last week. Nobody else is doing that in Canadian MJ. At least none of the major names. So on the hourly time frame, we have the low, high of the bull move. Again, huge follow through. 770. Let's see, 10% would put us at 847. We got all the way to 867. We went 12, 13% on that bounce. Higher low trying to form at 816, but no confidence in that because we closed right at it. Break 816 and we look to $8, and 770 would be after that. So again, bulls have to change the hourly trend. We need higher lows and higher highs, and right now we don't have a lot of confidence in that setup with how we ended the day. So if we break the lows of current consolidation tomorrow morning, bears continue to keep full control, and SPY right now after hours is down a little bit, not very much room before the low of today gets tested. IIPR, all-time highs 3 days in a row. Certainly don't suggest a bullish entry at this point. We need a daily higher low to form on a bearish reversal candlestick, but we've hit all-time highs 3 days in a row in an extremely bearish market and an extremely bearish sector environment right now, and that stands out. This is our MJ hedge play, and it's going to correlate to MJ to certain degrees, but because it is an REIT and because it distributes a dividend, again, the fact that it distributes a dividend and the fact that it does not physically touch marijuana, it deals with companies and properties and things that do, but it specifically as a company does not. That makes it more of a safe haven. So again, there's guaranteed income coming out of IIPR with these dividends. That's where traders and investors flock to, I should say investors, flock to dividends in times of weakness because it's guaranteed money. ITHUF. So why is MJ? I gave the reason why USMJ is weaker, but also keep in mind that some of these names are still holding the low of last week. So ITHUF was red today, significantly more red. Let's see, it was down 7.5%, but it held the low of last week, whereas all of these major Canadian MJ names, aside from Cron, broke. I don't think TLRY did either, but APH, ACB, and CGC all broke the low of last week. So even though ITHUF was very weak today comparative to those names, it's still positioned better on the daily time frame because that support still stands. And there's a couple other names like that. CVSI is another one. It had a double bottom, and the bulls held the low of last week. I believe NBEV is another one. So there's a handful of USMJ names where even though they are red, they're still in a better daily position, having not broken the lows of last week. So we had a little bit more bounce at the end of last week, and now we're just kind of coming down again as the Canadian MJ sector bounced stronger, and we're pulling back and meeting somewhere in the middle in terms of where we stand with the sector as a whole. But it's a mixed bag for the USMJ names. A lot of names have those daily supports, but a lot of names have broken them. TCNNF here has broken its equilibrium bearish after a bearish reaction to earnings. I have no interest in names that break uptrends. If I'm going to have any interest in any individual names, long-term, short-term, whatever, I need to see daily trend changes. And MedMen gap down in reaction to the adjustment they made on their bot deal. Any bounce on MedMen under 611 is just going to form a lower high. So again, wait for trend changes and be patient, because not only will that give us a shift in momentum and ideally have us be green in the trade initially rather than red, but it allows us stop levels to go off of as well and support levels rather than just trying to catch the falling knife. So USMJ has a mixed bag with very weak names like MMNFF and who else was it? Just left the other ticker I just looked at, just lost my mind. But it's individual names we need to be watching because those charts are breaking correlation. And when everybody has their own chart, that's the most important chart. We don't have the strong correlation like everybody out of the major Canadian MJ names has with CGC. There's no clear leader in the US space that is guiding things. And again, because we're on OTC exchanges and we're not traded on the NASDAQ or on the NYSE, we don't have the bots. The bots are what are keeping things so correlated and arbitrage and just trading back and forth. And we don't have that on the OTC to the degree that we have it on the major exchanges, which is why, in my opinion, these Canadian MJ names have so much more dollar volume. They're obviously, some of them, bigger companies, but it's that the bot action with the liquidity in the higher exchanges that the OTC just does not offer. So it's still a very undeveloped USMJ space. That's why the risk and reward is so high. I have no interest in USMJ with the market so weak overall. I have no interest in Canadian MJ. I'm talking long-term, positions. I'm just going to continue trading it and waiting for some market relief so this fear subsides in the market. I didn't trade CGC today. I did a live stream this morning and left it public by accident, so about 600 people were tuning in, so maybe you caught that. But we were highlighting CGC, NVDA, and TQQQ as bull plays first thing in the morning, and all of them worked out from the open, but I just chose NVDA as opposed to CGC, and that was just personal preference. I would have been more interested in CGC if it broke 30 psychological with the flush first thing, but that didn't happen. So I just paid attention to NVDA. Anyways, congrats to the bulls that bought that bounce. When you're trading against the trend, lock in your profit. It's just, it will disappear very quickly. And we saw that today. We saw a very significant bull move with follow through. And as soon as we started seeing moves, on CGC getting extended on the 5-minute time frame, I believe at 10:55, I made a post in the chat room right here. And I said, at this point, risk to reward, if you're sitting in cash, means look bearish. And that's because we're very extended. The hourly chart is very extended, and we're looking for, at a bare minimum, healthy consolidation. So if bears made an entry, they could see healthy consolidation and set a stop loss at break even, or lock in short-term profit and hope that things get more extreme like they certainly did. And that resulted in a pullback of about 5% plus, which is obviously pretty significant. So that's where we stand as we head into tomorrow. Hourly timeframes, market weakness, and we'll see if the hourly trends can change. Hope you had a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. Hello, I'm the guy with the microphone, Charting Man Dan. In this section, we're going to be talking about emotional and physical well-being of stock traders. It's not just about knowing when to buy and sell if we want to be... Hello, I'm the guy with the microphone, Charting Man Dan. In this section, we're going to be talking about the physical and emotional well-being of a trader. It's not just about knowing when to buy and sell if we want to be doing this long-term for decades. I'm going to be showing you a little bit around the farm and how I stay balanced. Nancy, don't eat that. Hey! Don't eat that.